NGO Monitor, which is a non-partisan Canadian tracking organization, now reports that 29 individual pro-Palestinian groups have received funding from the Canadian government in the past year alone. This includes several that have been later designated as terrorist organizations. So the disruptive protests that we see on our streets every day, I live in Ottawa, we see disruptive protests every day walking through our streets, are being funded by the Canadian government. What you see at these rallies is truly shocking. These are not your standard friendly everyday Canadian rallies. These feature people who have body bags out in the streets. I kid you not, there are body bags out in the streets, mock body bags. If you get anywhere close to them, they yell, "I'm going to knock you out." They act in threatening ways to the police. They are masked. The vile stuff that you hear coming out of the loudspeakers is truly shocking. If you haven't been up close to these, it's hard to describe exactly what is going on at these protests. It's hard to describe, put into words. I'm going to put together a collage of everything that I've seen at these protests, but it is shocking, the realization that the Canadian government is funding these protests. Are you kidding me? At the same time as our government is attempting again to pass Bill C-63, the so-called Online Harms Act, which would throw critics of immigration under house arrest and with an ankle bracelet for things they may say in the future. I kid you not. It allows the government to put people under house arrest with ankle bracelets for things they may say in the future. Juxtapose that with what you see every day at these government-funded pro-Palestinian rallies, and you cannot come to any conclusion but to say that Canada is now a two-tiered police state. If you are out in support of a cause that the Liberal government says is okay, you have carte blanche to do whatever you want. If you are out in support of a cause that the government does not say is okay, you will be dealt with incredibly harshly, and in many cases imprisoned or put under house arrest. The discrepancy between how different ideologies and points of view are treated in Canada now reminds me of Mao's China, Stalin's USSR. It's really shocking to see how different people are treated based on the ideology that they're espousing. If you want to criticize immigration, if you want to get out there and say, we've allowed 8 million people into this country in the past decade, the Liberal government say they're going to allow another million in the year 2025. We can't withstand this anymore. Our middle and lower classes have been absolutely decimated, as every economic indicator points out. Our housing crisis, our jobs crisis, our drug crisis, our just general social unity crisis indicates it, that we can't withstand it. The government will deem you guilty of hate speech and try and lock you up. But you want to get out there, you want to support Hamas. You see Hamas headbands all over the place. You see these masked thugs trying to intimidate people just looking to go about their everyday life. A-okay, you get the thumbs up from our government. It is not based on your actions whatsoever. The law is not equally applied in any way whatsoever. It's totally based on what your ideology is. And I was shocked to learn that 29 separate pro-Palestinian organizations have received government funding. I can guarantee you the Freedom Convoy, these so-called right-wing groups, are not receiving any government funding. That I can tell you with absolute certainty. Canadians need to wake up to the fact that Mark Carney and the Liberal government want to disrupt our society. That's the whole point behind these disruptive policies. Well-known strategy, the Cloward-Piven strategy. If you want to make extreme differences in society, if you want to make extreme changes in society, you intentionally disrupt it. You now can't walk around downtown Ottawa without seeing drug addicts all over the place, crack smoking all over the place. Anybody who lives in a Canadian city knows just how bad it's gotten. But you eventually realize, oh, this is intentional. The government is trying to do this because they cannot get away with their extreme measures unless There's insanity going on all around this. It's exactly what they want. They want open crack smoking on the street. They want safe supply. They want protests out in the streets. They want our civilization in decline, because then when we're all fighting one another, we don't notice that Mark Carney, on behalf of the WF Davos, is robbing us blind and stripping away our charter rights and freedoms bit by bit, finishing off the job that Trudeau started. Canadians need to wake up to the fact that this government is attempting to tear apart the charter rights of freedoms, our freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of movement. I won't go through lists item by item, but it's so clear what our government's trying to do, and the fact that they're funding these protests is so disgusting. If you're interested in supporting, hit the link in my bio, donate, grab some beer. I'm going to do everything I can to make my voice heard. Look to organize rallies in early September. Please like, subscribe this video, and spread the word, because people have this vision in their head of Canada as this nice, soft, woke, empathetic country. But underneath that soft veneer, Canada is getting more authoritarian, more close to China, more close to Russia, further away from Sweden every single day. Everyday Canadians need to speak up, and speak up now.